We often hear that masturbation is entirely normal. But to what extent? How frequently can one engage in it without crossing the line into addiction? And what if it becomes something you can't control? Let's delve into these questions and explore why you might want to reconsider this seemingly harmless act that could be more detrimental than it appears. But first, I must apologize for the somewhat sensational cover. It was necessary to grab your attention on this critical issue of the 21st century, one that is undermining the willpower of both young people and adults alike. In this video, you'll gain insights into what happens to our brains, both scientifically and philosophically, and learn what Stoicism can teach us about overcoming this vice. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with all our content. Now, let's dive in. Modern medicine clearly states that masturbation is perfectly normal, not only for humans but also for dogs and other mammals. However, this perspective on masturbation being normal hasn't always been the case. Historically, masturbation was deemed immoral, especially for men, as the unnecessary production of semen was believed to prevent reproduction. For women, it was thought that masturbation might alienate them from men, as they could find pleasure independently, without a partner. This moral condemnation was compounded by physical concerns, with claims that masturbation led to various diseases, making it something to avoid altogether. But let's bring the discussion back to the present. What do we now understand about masturbation, particularly for men dealing with insomnia? We know that it induces sleep. The French Institute of Health and Medical Research found that the male brain switches off sexual desire after orgasm. The cerebral cortex, the part of the brain responsible for conscious thought, goes into rest mode after climax, which, besides dampening further sexual desire, helps induce sleep. This is why many men doze off after sexual activity. So, where's the problem? What's the downside? Hidden within one of its benefits lies a trap. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you might already know what I'm referring to. Masturbation triggers the release of dopamine in the brain, a hormone that makes us feel good, bringing calm, relief, stress reduction, and a sense of reward. The pleasure is so intense that some individuals become addicted. In 2017, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders introduced a new disorder called hypersexuality disorder, which includes excessive masturbation under the umbrella of obsessive-compulsive disorder, a vice that can lead to mental and familial destruction. In many cases, self-control becomes impossible, turning one into a slave to their desires, leading to dangerous behaviors like seeking out prostitutes, engaging in promiscuous sex, and as discussed in a previous video, excessive consumption of pornography. These are ways a dopamine-saturated brain seeks to achieve pleasure. Be mindful. Masturbation addiction stems from the chemicals released in the brain. As the brain adjusts to this dopamine surge, it increasingly demands the stimulus that caused it in the first place. Your brain will start craving more and more dopamine to reach the same level of pleasure experienced the first time, pushing you to continuously seek ways to masturbate. The situation becomes extreme when your brain recognizes the excessive dopamine release and starts blocking receptors to try and curb the behavior. This results in a frustrating cycle where the act of masturbation no longer provides pleasure, leading to even greater frustration. Excessive masturbation to satisfy this relentless craving is akin to a smoker who never stops, someone who eats chocolate until they're sick, or an alcoholic who can't resist another drink. At this point, you might be wondering, what does Stoicism have to do with all of this? The Stoics, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Panaetius of Rhodes, who were masters of self-control and wisdom, offered a unique perspective on pleasure and lust. From the teachings of Epictetus to the private musings of Seneca, they delved into the depths of human passions, leaving behind a legacy that continues to fascinate us. To the Stoics, masturbation wasn't merely a pursuit of carnal satisfaction, but an opportunity to explore the boundaries of the body and mind. They viewed it as an exercise in self-awareness and a path to true freedom within their philosophical framework. Mastery over worldly desires and pleasures was seen as a triumph that elevated the human spirit. Epictetus asserted that it is not nights of indulgence but rather self-control that defines a good man. In this context, the ability to enjoy pleasure while fully understanding and containing it is what distinguishes someone who has achieved a higher level of self-awareness. rather than being slaves to our desires. We should strive to be their masters, as Seneca eloquently reminds us with his philosophical insight. Stoic reflection on masturbation isn't just about repression. It's about deep understanding and self-mastery. It's about channeling our emotions toward a journey of conscious self-exploration. It's not just about seeking momentary satisfaction, but about understanding, accepting, and embracing our deepest inclinations. From the Stoic viewpoint, every action carries consequences, not only for us, but also for the natural order of the universe. When we give in to our strongest desires, as in the case of uncontrolled masturbation, we lose that harmonious connection with nature that the Stoics valued so highly. We become prisoners of our desires, drifting further from true inner serenity. Compulsive masturbation can unleash an emotional storm within us, where guilt, shame, and dissatisfaction become constant companions. The Stoics teach us to control these intense emotions through introspection and self-regulation. By consciously confronting our emotions, we can learn to manage them in a healthy and constructive manner. However, the Stoics urge us to seek inner peace within ourselves. True satisfaction lies in mastering ourselves and finding joy in simplicity and virtue. Allow me to share an inspirational story. I know someone who once struggled with compulsive masturbation, seeking momentary refuge and pleasure, but enduring an emotional turmoil after each episode. Immersed in Stoic teachings and practicing self-control and self-regulation, this individual underwent a profound transformation. They learned to face their desires and emotions consciously, finding true joy in self-mastery. Today, they live a life of inner peace and authenticity, free from the chains of fleeting desires. True fulfillment comes from living in alignment with our core principles and values. When we succumb to temporary desires, we lose sight of what we genuinely value in life. Compulsive masturbation can lead us astray from our noblest goals and distance us from the true happiness that is rooted in virtue and inner peace. Through meditation and mindfulness, we can cultivate the mental serenity needed to resist temptations and deal with our emotions in a healthy way. This compulsion becomes a barrier to mental tranquility, dragging us into regret and steering us away from the calm that comes with self-control and moderation. Stoic principles are incredibly useful for daily life, helping us navigate tough times with resilience. They focus on applying what's learned and moving forward. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it to the end, share your thoughts and write prosperous in the comments. If you're new, please subscribe. See you soon.